need to get some practice. Jump in, feel free. Yeah. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another one of our healing sessions. So nice to see so many people come in to support, both those willing to work and those willing to receive healing. So welcome to everybody. If we could just harmonise our thoughts and our minds and our energies and join in with prayer, please. Divine and infinite Spirit, we gather together today in this name of healing. Healing in its many forms, through friendship, through support, through the contact with the other world, directing those energies to wherever there is a need. As we link here together today, united by this divine energy, help us too to send our thoughts further afield, to include those who cannot be with us this day. Draw them into that loving band, to receive that upliftment, that compassion, that love from the spirit world. So as we join in with today, help us each to give and to receive to the best of our abilities. Amen. Let's start off with a little reading. This is one I shared on Facebook the other day, but it really touched me when I read it. The old healer said to the soul, "It is not your back that hurts, but the burden you carry. It is not your eyes that hurt, but the injustice you see. It is not your head that hurts, but your thoughts. It is not your throat, but that which you dare not tell. It is not your belly, but your soul that cannot digest what is happening around you. It is not your liver that hurts, but the anger inside. It is not your heart that hurts, but love. And it is love itself which can heal all this pain, the most powerful medicine." And that's author unknown. And it's very true. When we start off on our healing journey, and whichever modality of healing that we practice, we are presented with people who will report with, "I've got a bad back, I've got a bad knee, I've got a headache," or whatever, which is beautiful, that the spirit world will direct that energy through the healing mediums, again, no matter what their modality is. But here's a little thought. As most are aware, we are not this one body. We are not just the physical body. We are our etheric body. We are our spiritual body. We are our emotional body. We're so many bodies combined. And one of the basic laws of the universe is the law of balance. As we're seeing in our society now, balance is coming in. Wherever we see affront, we are seeing reconciliation. Wherever we are seeing war, we are seeing petitions for peace. It is the natural state of everything within the entire universe. And it is one of the immutable laws of spirit that there must always be this balance and harmony. So when we start to apply that to ourselves, what could possibly cause a manifestation within our physical body of a pain or a dis-ease or an inharmony? So often, not every time, but often, physical manifestations are the presence of something else going on within one of our bodies. We know through the carers that are presented today that we give, exhausting and depleting our own magnetic energy, which then results in a period of sickness, of unhealth, because you have exhausted yourself magnetically, which means it comes from you, the energy, other than being channeled through you from spirit. So with the healers, and again, all the modalities that are represented here today, when you work with spirit, we're never there. Whatever we are today, we want to be better tomorrow, and we want to be better again the next day. And we can achieve that through conversation with spirit, by asking spirit, by seeking out mentors and tutors to enhance and refine our own gifts. We should always be asking, when we're dispensing healing, number one, where is this coming from? If I were to present to Ian, say, I've got a bad knee, Ian would say to his guides, bring him healing. Not healing for his bad knee, but bring him healing, because that bad knee could be a reflection of something wrong in one of my other bodies. It could also be a karmic influence coming in. But this is the beauty of spiritual healing, because also in that act, we're encouraging those who present themselves for healing for the ability to search within and find their own healing. Now, I think this is really important for our spiritual healers especially, to open the doors for people who present themselves with whatever affliction, is to encourage and talk. One of our acts on the Monday nights is a big part of our healing here is not so much with the laying on of hands, but it's in the conversations that we have after. Because it's about growth. We're all about growth. Every single one of us. We are each and every one of us unique in our identity, unique in our energy, unique with the groups that we work with in the spirit world, but with one commonality. We are here to progress. We are here to evolve on our spiritual side with lessons that only the material or the physical plane can teach us. So when we work with people coming in to receive healing, it's not like, oh, you've got a bad head, there you go, your bad head's gone. It's about entering in that conversation. It's about engaging with the people. It's about talking with people. And to try and see if through talk, through conversation, through passing on to somebody else who may be more specialised, to enable each and every one of us to find that route for healing within ourselves. Because that is where the Spirit wants us. Spirit wants us to be walking hand in hand on this earth, conversing with Spirit, listening to Spirit. Whatever our form of mediumship, be it evidential, be it philosophical, be it healing, whatever, you are that medium, you are that fine membrane between the two worlds. And not every piece of spirit communication needs validation. We have validation with the evidential mediums in saying, describing somebody and getting a yes or a no. There is some validation within the healing realms where people do come back and say, do you know what, that really works, that's wonderful. But 99% of spirit communication doesn't need validation. It's just a gentle nudge or a suggestion. It's a thought of, I haven't spoken to so-and-so in such a long time, I'll give them a ring. How are you? Oh, I'm so glad you phoned. I'm having such a terrible time. That is how your mediumship evolves and unfolds. I know from looking around the church today, there are many, many actively engaged on that path. But it's developing that closer link with Spirit. It's listening to the word of Spirit. I'll give you a nice example. A lady I was giving healing to a number of years ago. During the healing, the mother drew close and literally only said, she's lonely, and then walked away. I didn't need to say, oh, your mum's here and she's saying you're lonely. I knew that that was for my benefit, to enable to pass on more assistance to get that life a little bit more well-rounded and in balance. So in the conversation after, the conversation went along the lines of, are you getting out much? Oh no, because I've just moved and I don't know anybody and I sit indoors all night. Oh, well, we do a social group, or there's this social group or whatever. And in and through that, this person went on to join a social group, made a great new plethora of friends, and life became more well-rounded and never came back for healing, which is great, because that is the way Spirit works. Is supporting us. So, as we were talking earlier, the energies are all a little bit funny and we're all a little bit muzzy-headed, myself included. Anyone got any general questions on healing? No question is daft, all right? Everybody who knows what they know only know what they know because they ask questions. So, anybody? You all know it, that's wonderful. Sue! Goodness. Oh. Ted.
The wise old man, sir. I've had healing from quite a few of the healers in
Yeah.
and it feels different every time. Is it meant to?
Yes. Yeah, because as I was saying earlier, everybody is unique. Your energy is very unique. But everybody's energy is unique.
Yes.
Also, the people who work with us in spirit are unique energies. So everyone is unique. We also get affected, the physical healer will get affected by certain energies around them. You know, if they've just come in to do healing, they've just had a blazing row with the old man, probably not going to be the best. Or they've just had a wonderful day, full of joy, full of love. So even in that one setup, you will see a different balance of healing. Also, with yourself as the receiver of healing, it can be the mindset, because what we say to people, if you're going to receive healing, expect nothing, but be ready for everything. Because if you go into healing thinking, right, I want an end to, right, I have got a bad foot, I want an end to this bad foot, and I'm having healing and I'm not feeling my foot getting better, immediately I'm putting these, number one, I'll put a parameter on it. And spirit don't work very well with parameters. I can attest to that from experience. I have healing according to my needs. So there's a lot of variables why you feel this difference.
Yes.
And that leads on to a lot of things in spirit. You know, often people are looking for the one answer to everything in our works with spirit. The answer to the unanswerable question. You ask 10 spirits one question, you will have 10 different answers, because it all comes from their own school of thought. The premise will be there, the balance will be there. I often find when we've had demonstrations like with Mark the other week and demonstrations of other trance mediums, spirit never come through and say, you've got to do this. They will suggest, well, have you thought about it this way? And another one will come through and say, have you thought about it that way? So, you know, there is no when we think of the spirit world as having all the answers, they have their answers.
Yeah.
This is why we sometimes get a little bit confused, because we think coming from spirit is going to be clean, pure and true, and it will be exactly the same.
Yes.
Well, it isn't.
Never is.
No, because it's intelligence, and you have different schools of thought in spirit. As what was it once described? There are as many schools of thought in spirit as there are stars in the universe. So one question, but bring it back to your question there. Every healer will work differently, and you will find that sometimes you will have little fluctuations with the same healer. It's all part of life. It's all part of everything, and it's just accepting that. And because we often leave out the part with spirit that we're dealing with intelligence, and sometimes greater intelligence than our own.
Yeah.
I've been frustrated a couple of times about going away. And I'm just like, why have I been stopped in my tracks? I don't know why I've been stopped in my tracks, but I do trust enough to think that, well, actually, I don't know what would have happened if I'd gone away. And I trust you enough to make a slate fly off the roof just as I'm going out the door with a suitcase or whatever. So there is always this variability in there. But it's with healing, when you're having spiritual healing, is having that open mind and not set the parameters. Just be open to the influence.
Yeah.
And trust, this is the word all working mediums, evidential mediums, struggle with. Trust that what is needed will be given. Because we come in, don't we? We want.
Not what you're hoping for.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And again, that's another form of putting parameters. I want this. I want my bad foot to be taken away. For whatever reason, it could be a lesson, life lesson I need to learn to knock that echo out. But yeah, you will find a difference. You will find a difference because every day is a new day. Every communication is a unique event with the spirit world. I can link with spirit now and I can link with spirit in half an hour, and I've got two unique events. There may be causalities that link them, but they will be each individual a unique event. Happy with that?
Happy. Thank you.
Sue?
It was just to talk about self-healing, healers, that's an ongoing... No, not me personally.
You said I wanted to talk about, get up here.
Yeah, self-healing, isn't it? Because for the healers, that's also to say, to let other people know the healers themselves are going through that process of self-healing. And it's always ongoing.
Indeed, indeed. And that touches on an energy that's been very, very dominant in my mind for the last couple of months now, that we need to look after our mediums. That is the thought that was given to me. And when I apply the term mediums, I'm talking about the healers, I'm talking about the evidentials, the philosophers, whatever. But there is a great need for mediums to have this self-care time. Would you agree that in this time today, Spirit work with us very differently to what they did 2 years ago?
Absolutely, it's changed. Everything's changing. The energy and everything's changing.
Indeed.
And we're also becoming more aware of the process.
Indeed. And when was the opportunity given to you to sit in a development circle of peers to work with this new energy?
Well, that's another thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
And also, with mediums of any form, I noticed over the years, looking at ourselves within and clearing our stuff and doing the self-healing and all that work, do you know what? It's only in fairly recent times that I was ever mentioned to do that.
Mm.
And of course, when you think of them being conduits for spirit and needing that clear channel, it's a bit sort of jaw-dropping to think that it didn't really figure too much previously.
No, because the culture and society that we've come from, you just did it. You turned out everybody just did their job. mediums would turn up at a church because they're booked, healers would turn up at the church because that's where they belonged. And we sort of had this little bit delusional side that, oh, I'm a healer now, that's it.
That's true.
And the same with evidential mediums. Oh yeah, I can get up now and I can do a service, so there you go, I'm a medium. But it's not. We're on this continual path of progression, right up until we draw our last breath here, and continues when we draw our first breath on the other side. We have that progression. This time has given us the opportunity, by going into the quiet, by going into our own solitudes and facing up to some of our fears, to actually start reviewing what we do and asking that eternal question, why? That is a great question to ask yourself. Anything that you do, why do I do that? You know, am I doing it just because it's custom and practice, or am I doing it because I feel safe and I don't want to stretch? Or am I doing it because that's what the rule book says? Well, sometimes we've got to tear up the rule book and say, do you know what, there is a stronger link now with spirit than before. But we owe it to ourselves, and I'm applying this to the working mediums, whatever disposition, to sit for ourselves and learn and understand better the energies of today. Because spirit they've been stuck in the 1930s for quite some time, some of the applications. They're not. They're today and tomorrow. But we've got entrenched in some ideals. Some are there for a good reason. Some are there do need to be honoured. But a lot are perception. I think one of the biggest things that this time has taught us with the evidential mediums is that you don't need to be in a sanctuary with the person sat in front of you in total silence. You can sit in your lounge and talk to people in other countries and still bring through that clear communication.
Yeah, it's
It
really wonderful.
has. So for the evidential, but also for the healing side.
And it's given spirit a whole new platform as well, hasn't it? To reach out to people across the world.
Indeed.
And it's a case of really harnessing our own abilities and keep on working with that and being open to what other possibilities come forward to be able to do that, because it's part of the connectedness across the whole world.
Yes. No, this time has removed a lot of our mental barriers. And they were our mental barriers. They weren't spirit.
It's
Yeah.
exciting times if we're opening up, definitely. Thank you, Laurie.
Indeed. Anybody else? Ooh. Start there. We'll go across.
I was thinking what you said, and particularly what Ian said about his training and everything else. Everyone, of course, gives their energy from the heart, and they want to heal, but they also want the recognition for it. So I was wondering, the SNU are now pushing to help you recognise the levels of their healing, as in most other grounds of healing. But I know Ian was frustrated about 2 years from the heart, but no kind of formal recognition for it.
Right. I wouldn't discuss any particular body because that energy is also found in many other bodies. So let's not hone in on one particular.
No, I'm just asking the church.
Yeah, and I'm just clarifying that. So we won't hone in on one particular body, but there was throughout the gamut of healing organisations, partly created, in my view, by the churches and centres of having healers develop there for a very long time, for over 2 years in many cases, by this not being able to share healers between one site and another. If you were healing accredited to one organisation, you couldn't transfer that to another. Sorry, you're pulling a face.
No, I
Yeah.
think that's sad. If you, I thought you meant if you'd healed in one church, they wouldn't recognise it in another church.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Right.
Yeah. So, and again, this was this entrenched idiom about healing. And also, as you brought up and Ian so eloquently put as well, not so much the healers weren't being given the credit, they weren't being recognised as being a part of the church. You know, and because the overall effect within spiritualism, in the main, not in all cases, but in the main, was today's star turn is Truda. Truda, thank you very much. That was a lovely afternoon of tears and laughter. Next week we've got a really good medium coming. And we all got on to that bandwagon, that roll of energy, because that's what everybody did. So because everybody did it, everybody continued to do it. But this time has just caused that ripple, that unease with the way, because people want something deeper. Evidential mediumship has its place very firmly within our religion and our philosophy, but it is not the be-all and end-all. But it had become the star turn. You know, you couldn't have a service without a demonstration of mediumship. It was just unheard of. You don't do that. In that energy then became the focus on the evidential side within our churches and centres, and apart from the cursory, oh, thank you to the healers, that was pretty much it. But now there is this time of opportunity to actually not only acknowledge the dedication, the time, the money that you spent on your workshops and travelling to the churches, but to actually celebrate your gift as a healer. And that is something all-encompassing that I would delight in seeing other churches taking up on, and actually recognising the vast, vast contribution of healers to their churches, their centres, or if they're independent, it matters not. Because it is, and again, it's coming back to our definition, the word medium. Say a medium to anybody, you've got somebody up here saying, oh, I've got your mother here. Yeah, it's not. A medium is a communicator between the spirit world and our world. How that manifests is multitude of ways. It can be through peacekeepers, it can be through negotiators. Psychics make really good negotiators. You know, for a long time we've had a downer on psychic people. But if you're going to be a psychic, be a good psychic. And say, I'm a good psychic. But they have wonderful gifts to make this world better. But coming back to the original question there is this opportunity now to elevate that position of our healers. Not only elevate it, but celebrate it as well. Because every service is about healing. Through the medium, the evidential medium's messages, many of those are based on that healing energy. We've seen it here. Oh, I'd like to bring through your father. Oh no, I don't want to talk to him. Well, actually, love, you may not want to talk to him, but he needs to talk to you. Because that's part of his healing on the other side. He needs to come back and say, do you know what? I can't change it, but I am sorry. Because that act is his healing. So we need to recognise more that that healing energy is fundamental, it is a cornerstone of spiritualism. But then in recognising that healing is that, bringing that out into the greater application of all the things we do, and recognising that healing energy there at work. Yeah?
Yeah, I just think you're saying, but it's sad that Ian could put all his effort in here and then get a form from and say, well, we don't recognise you.
That is down to the individual organisations, and they too have this opportunity
John,
to
recognise.
ask why.
Yeah.
Why do we do that? It's such a simple question, but demands a deep, thought-out answer.
I'd just like to say how I've been healing for 22, 23 years, how it's changed.
Don't look old enough, darling.
You know, what used to take an hour, I can do it now in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how time's speeding up, isn't it?
Yeah.
The energy.
I will say from the Bible here, Jesus healed with a touch.
Mm.
That's a demonstration. That's nothing, you know, that's not being anyway challenging. It was just a simple demonstration of healing. I'd give healing on a bus, I've given healing in doctors' waiting rooms. We all practice the art of absent healing, and it is that thought. Because where thought goes, energy follows. So again, with the contact healing, some disciplines are trained to go and do different manoeuvres, which is absolutely fine. But again, these are all gateways to a greater truth. And you know, if you're happy with the way that you've been taught and doing the healing, absolutely wonderful. Absolutely nobody has the right to say you're doing it wrong. It is you as a unique energy. But you will find, because we are all on a progressive journey, I found I started off in one discipline, so I did number 1 and did number 2. Unfortunately, halfway through number 2, people kept coming up and talking to me and just said, you don't want to be doing this, you want to be doing something else. Oh, fair enough. But it opens up that energy, that acceptance, because the minute you put that thought out there to spirit and say, I am a healer, and a healer comes in many, many, many guises, they will utilise you. And it is up to you then to keep working with that progressive energy. So it's lovely to hear that you understand now. You know yourself through working with Brian. It's literally in the first 5 minutes. You could have 5, you know, we get used to having to sit there for 20 minutes and have all the movements going on around us within our churches and centres. That's our human side, because we feel that because it's taken 20 minutes, it's done something. But actually that energy is dispensed like that. Absolutely. Lovely.
But I think we're all working in the astral as we sleep as well. It's I just believe that when we go to sleep, we're still praying and helping.
Indeed. I think when in our sleep state we are in deep communion with the spirit world. Deep communion on many, many levels. But yeah, if you open yourself up to say, use me wherever. This is sometimes where we see the frustrations within our churches and centres, because it's that petition is sometimes worded, use me to be the best whatever sort of medium for you, but that might not be in your path. You may not be a healer, you may not be an evidential medium, you may not be a philosopher, but you may be a great help out in society. You may be a great organiser. Think about the organisation, that charities and things like that. It's all for the greater good. And sometimes we get frustrated because, right, I'm going to go to this workshop and I'm going to learn how to do this. And you get frustrated because this doesn't manifest. But that's the key from Spirit to say, well, you know, if that isn't your path, show me what is. Help me what is. And do you know what? When you start putting thoughts out like that, you will go into any church and centre and you will get hundreds of messages saying, do you know you're a healer? Do you know you're this? Do you know you're that? Because they will get that message over. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. About the same time as lockdown occurred, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
Up until that point, I have not been an ill person. I never really had anything other than the odd migraine. And with the chemotherapy and associated, therapies and everything that go with it, I sort of have become ill. It's left me with illnesses that I've never had before in my life to cope with alone on my own. And I pray every day and I say to God, dear God, in the name of Jesus, please, I ask you to give me your grace. Grant me 100%. Allow my body to be, restore my body and give me what I need to be a healthy person again, so that I can go on to do whatever I have to do. This life was given to me by you. I want to do it best I can, but I can't do it. Bill, help me, you know. So I ask these prayers. Most days I'll stop and say, dear God, do you really want me? Do you really want me to go through the next 24 hours with this pain, with this, that, whatever, right? And I don't hear a sausage. I don't hear no reply. The air is still. I hear nothing. I don't know what I'm expecting to hear. I don't know what I'm expecting to happen. But all I've got is this ability to open my mouth and ask.
Yep.
You know, I'm brought up at Church of England in the sight of God. I'm baptised. This is my Lord. I want him to help me. Please help me. Where are you? I'm saying. And the question is, does he heal really? Does he really heal us? Really?
Yeah. I can relate to you 100%. When I had cancer, up until I had cancer, I was very fit. Since then, because of operations, chemo, radio, it's left me at times, it ruins my life. I have done similar to you. I have not invoked the God energy, but I have said to my guides, inspirers, in no uncertain terms, they must really dislike me. Why am I like this? I'm doing all this for you. Why do I have to endure this? I rage as I... Yeah. So you're not alone, and there will be millions of others who do. One thing I have learned is for myself now not to rage, although I still have the odd moments when things all magically align and flare up. But I know it's something I have to live with. And it's uncomfortable, it's unpleasant. I want to be pre my treatment, but I'm not. So I have to learn to live with it. I wake up, I look out, it's a sunny day, I wake up in my bed, I wake up, I have food in the cupboard, I wake up, I can get out. So I shift my energies to those. Don't stop raging, but balance with what we have still got. Balance with the joys in life. Balance, you know, just even on a day like this and walking out, seeing the flowers out in the garden, hearing the bird song at the dusk, and be thankful too for that. Because we always get what we need, not what we want. If we all got what we wanted, we would all be 21, good looking, and millionaires.
It's that feeling of not being heard.
We're always heard. As it say, not a sparrow falls. Everybody is heard. Have you tried meditation by sitting and going in the quiet?
No.
I would suggest that you may find that, because you're going to find the answers more from within than the petitions from without. So try that. Talk to me afterwards and I'll give you some tips.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So there's somebody else at the back there? No? Oh.
Sorry, when I was listening to that lady saying, actually one of the first things you told me actually about we heal, we don't cure. You said to me about your mum and dad when they turned up every day go and see that lady
Mm.
in Poole Hospital. They treated her religiously, given their healing, and of course she passed away, didn't she? And the son ranted the raven, "You're healers, why didn't you cure?"
Yeah.
And the nurse came up to her afterwards, didn't they, to parents, and said, she died without any pain, she never had any pain. So they looked at their perception of healing was, you're going to make it, you're going to cure her.
Exactly, because we put that constraint
Yeah.
upon it. And also, I would always say to people, you may say that nobody hears my prayers or whatever. This isn't a cop-out, but you don't know where you'd be if you hadn't asked for those things. And again, this is this trust element that we have to develop with working with spirit in whichever form. We don't know how bad things would be had we not sought healing, had we not started to investigate whatever to enhance our life.
But you see, I also, sorry to butt in,
It's all right.
but I also think that Jesus has said that what man cannot achieve, God can achieve easily. But man has to ask God through Jesus Christ. Only have to ask through Jesus' name, and God will provide it.
Yeah. Yeah, it
You know,
does.
And I think, and I even say that out loud. I said, you have said, God, you know, you have said, us mortals, all we have to do is ask and you'll give it to us. I'm a greedy northerner, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. No, because...
We want butter on our bread, don't we? Sorry.
No, don't, never apologise. Never apologise in friend debate. Something we need to be mindful of
Yeah.
in and through spiritualism, we learn and understand and accept the continuity of life. I often say the phrase, we are beings of light who have lived forever and shall live forever. So when we start looking at this life in that context, yeah, we want things better for us today. I want my bank account to be a lot healthier than it is. I want all this. But then to counterbalance it, I just think, well, do you know
You've
what?
got all you need.
Exactly, you've got all you need, and this is just like a full stop in the world's biggest encyclopedia, this life. Doesn't mean it's not important, but everything that we go through here is part of our learning, our progression, and our evolution of the soul, because our soul made that pact for us to be here for reasons. And if anybody says, you know, you chose to experience this, I'm thinking, no, I didn't, because I'm thinking with my human mind, but actually on my spiritual level, you just think, okay, what's it bringing to me? What's it going to teach me? And that's a nice way, when you get something that challenges you, instead of our normal reaction is to rear up, isn't it? You know, all fired up and hackles up and growling away. But another way of handling it is, okay, what are you trying to teach me? What are you bringing to me? Because this is happening for a reason. What am I being taught here? What's the lesson that I can learn from this? Or the after effects when you have reared up. And then saying, okay, I learn now not to do that. But yeah. Anyway, how wonderful was that? And time has flown, my goodness. I thought I'm going to struggle today, but I can't shut me up. We will now hand over to the wonderful works and energies of our church registered healers. So healers and your associates, if you could get yourselves ready, and you will be taken through to the healing room as soon as we're all organised. So thank you all.